Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are thrilled to have in the studio with us today Jennifer Bright. She is the Chief Philanthropy Director and COO for Nature Collective. How you doing there, Jennifer?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc., celebrating their 20th anniversary this year in Liberty Station, and got a whole bunch of cool events they've already done and more to come. Is that correct?
True story. Yeah, we're just going to keep on doing it all year long.
All year long for the next 20 years.
Yes.
I think that's...
Oh, boy. For the next foreseeable future. Yes.
That sounds great over there. Kristen, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, let's just get into the mission of the organization.
Yeah, so Nature Collective is a science and conservation education leader in San Diego County. Mm-hmm. We have a mission to drive a passion for nature for all. And we really put a lot of emphasis on that all component of it. Nature is for everyone. We try to open our doors up and include people that have been devoid of nature, people that may have been connected to nature at one point in their life and have
fallen away from it, or
exactly, fallen away from, or people that have a true affinity to nature as well. And so we know that nature is necessary to not only the biodiversity of San Diego County and the world, but it's also very important to us from a health and physical, mental health component as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're speaking my language. I'm a big fan of Mission Trails, and we just have so many beautiful, parks and places to be in nature in San Diego. So we're very lucky to be here. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the history and, the need that arose that started the Nature Collective?
Sure. So Nature Collective was established in 1987. Mm-hmm. So we've been around for a little while. For a little while, exactly. And we were started, I always like to share this story because there is a thought sometimes of when you're younger, like, what can I accomplish? There's these big dreams. So Nature Collective was started in 1987 by a group of what would have been called millennials at the time. And there was a group of 6 folks that went out, and they were new to the North County area. We just started, Sorrento Valley had just started growing, and these group of millennials were working for the new companies that were in the Sorrento Valley area, and they moved to North County. And the San Elijo Lagoon at the time was known as the Dirty Slough. A lot of locals called it that. It was smelly. It was not a place that you wanted to go. And a lot of that came down to the lagoon just not being, the channel inlet was not open. And so these group of millennials at the time said, we want to do something about that. And so they started what was then called the San Elijo Lagoon Conservancy. Later on, we became Nature Collective through a rebranding. But they started with the simple goal of keeping the inlet open. And by keeping the inlet open, the tidal flush was there, and biodiversity and things slowly started to move. There was 30 years later, we've done a lot to get to where we are today. But that was the basis of it, of millennials having a dream and getting out there and making it happen.
Amazing. Yeah. And then, so where did it kind of go from there?
Yeah, so that was the original thought of the organization, and since then we just completed a $120 million restoration project on San Elijo Lagoon.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, that is part of that was a collaboration with Sandag and Caltrans. We are doing improvements, transportation along I-5, and that was making an impact on San Elijo Lagoon. So we were able to, we had a project ready to go to restore this lagoon. And so we were out there for about 5 years, restoring, removing all of the sediment that had accumulated in the channels for years, and just completely redoing the channels. So now the water comes in and out much more frequently. And if you go out there now, it is definitely not a dirty slough. It's a gorgeous, biodiverse place that you can experience 1,000 plants and animals that call this 1,000-acre reserve home.
Yeah. You know what's so cool about this? We're chatting with Jennifer Bright, Chief Philanthropy Director and COO for Nature Collective. I'm Drew Schlosberg, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things in San Diego County, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel of San Diego Writers, Inc. We always love to have the environmental groups on, whether it's Living Coast Discovery Center or San Diego River Valley Conservancy, all the ones you know, and you work shoulder to shoulder with.
Yeah.
Because for 2 reasons. One, it's great education for the kids, adults for that matter as well. San Diego, and maybe you can address this as well, you sort of talked about it, is very unique when it comes to our natural resources. There's not a place like it ever. And when you lose it, you don't get it back. Talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, San Elijo Lagoon, just when you're talking about when you lose it, you don't get it back. San Elijo Lagoon is home to many endangered birds. We have a bird called the Ridgway's rail, which is a chicken-like bird, is what I like to call it, that only exists. It needs a habitat.
Have you heard of this?
I don't know. I mean, I'm picturing my version in my mind, but it could be completely different.
Likewise.
Like I don't know. I'll draw you a sketch later, but yeah.
I think you and I will probably draw the same sketch.
We should do that.
It's a very secretive bird. It likes to live in cordgrass. So if you've ever been out to any of the San Diego estuaries, there's grass, and it's a couple of feet high,
right.
And they find their home in that area. So Ridgway's rail is one of them. The Belding Savannah sparrow is another endangered bird that calls San Elijo home. It likes a plant called pickleweed in the salt marsh, and it needs that to survive as well. California gnatcatcher is another bird, beautiful bird that we have that calls San Elijo home. So we do a lot to preserve the habitats for all animals. However, we put a special emphasis on the endangered species, and those are a few that we work with.
Did you get into this field that, because of your major in school, or,
That was going to be my question. Wow, she found her way into all of this.
Exactly.
Yes.
Your parents were into it, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters. How'd you get into this?
Yeah, so if we go back to our mission and what I was talking about the different people, either you were devoid of nature as a child, or you fell in love with nature, had an experience but kind of lost your way. I fall in that lost your way kind of category. I grew up outside. We spent our summers camping.
Where?
In Maine. So completely opposite area.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. My backyard consisted of the woods and the deep woods. That's what I referred to it as. So I spent a lot of time in the woods. We had a no-go to the deep woods unless you were being bad. And there was a distinct line of where that deep woods were. Just the trees got more dense and all of that. But I grew up in nature. I grew up loving it. Later on, I went to school, and I went into school with fashion design. So I worked in the designer world of fashion for years, and lost my way or my connection with nature for a long time. And then I had some health concerns, and had a reawakening in my head of what I needed to do to get myself better. Fortunately, those I've overcome those, and we're
beautiful.
Good, but I found myself in nature, and I actually left my corporate job, went on a month backpacking trip through the Sierra, discovered that you really only need health shelter, water, food, and it's a support system in life.
No, that's great. Brandon, Joe is going to join us. He's the producer of our Spotlight show, also is the CEO of Treasure Hacks, his own business, and he loves to try host. I guess that's the right word for it, right?
I like that.
You have a question?
Great.
Yeah, it's gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm just incredibly curious because this is something, it's so topical because I talked about this with my friend yesterday. For me, was just trying to figure out ways to just retain my energy, keep going when I'm always doing all sorts of things. And my little thing that I'm setting up is just to go off into the wild for one day a month and just walk around with my book, sit down, like read, just listen and sit, because nothing brings me more joy than just sitting in grass and hearing the wind brush over it. It is a beautiful feeling. And I wonder, for a lot of other people, how do you make space to do something like that? Because it's so important when all the hustle bustle, all the technology, all the screams at your attention, the noise. How do you sort of orient your mind to just be okay with taking a moment like that? Because I know it's been incredibly hard for me, because when something comes up, at the time I'm like, I'll push this back a week, and then I don't do it. And it's a horrible cycle.
Yeah, it's interesting. We are. I always say, we're humans that think we have these great big brains. We've got everything figured out, and yet we know what is good for us. We know how to eat. We know how to exercise. We know all the things that are really great for us, and yet we always push those things aside. So I think it's just like anything else. My dedication to me as a person makes a point every single week. Even if it's for 20 minutes or half an hour, even if it's just, I'm going to take my lunch, or I'm going to take my coffee, and I'm going to, go on a little walk, or go to just a green grass area. The further I get out and the further I get away from people, the better. So when I'm talking about backpacking and getting out in the middle of nowhere, but I find that you can feel your body calm down anytime you're in areas where there's green, anytime you can hear the wind. When I first came to Nature Collective, not knowing a lot about the scientific component of it, everybody, was very gung-ho on, I had to learn everything about the science. I had to learn what plant that was, and I had to learn what bird that was. And I made a point of saying, you know what, for a lot of people, it's just sitting and observing, and you don't have to know every single thing that's around you. It is what makes it so special. It exists. It literally will calm your being better than any yoga, et cetera, I've been to.
I got to tell you, that's spot on. We come back from break. I want to talk more about that. Certainly, we save time to what can our listeners do to support your efforts in this area? I know Brandon and Kristen has some other questions for you as well when we return with Jennifer Bright. She's the Chief Philanthropy Director and COO of Nature Collective. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things in San Diego County. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us. I'm
Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, broadcasting from the Mission Fed studios here in Scripps Ranch for 60-plus years. Mission Fed been really elevating all cool things in San Diego County. We're joined by Jennifer Bright, Chief Philanthropy Director and COO of Nature Collective. I'm joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc., and Brandon Joe. He's the founder and CEO of Treasure Hacks and also a producer for the Spotlight Show. Kristen?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could get a little deeper into your education programs.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So we have a robust education program working with K through 12 students. We do a lot of our work with the Escondido School District up in North County, working with Title I schools.
Do you work with Luis Rankins and Barrow? He's the superintendent up there.
I don't personally, but I'm sure. I'm sure we have.
It's a great group of folks.
Yeah. The Escondido School District is a wonderful school district. We worked with them for many years, and we partner with them in many different ways. One of which is we work with the students, fifth graders. We have a big emphasis on fifth graders, and we bring them to the San Elijo Lagoon, and we work with them to in different components to learn about the things they are learning in their actual classroom, but bringing them to life along the trails. And so a lot of these students may never have been to San Elijo Lagoon, or maybe never have been to the beach area as well. And so it's an opportunity for them to learn outside of the classroom and connect with nature and have these concepts, these next generation science standard concepts, come to life in front of them.
Very cool.
And I'm just so fascinated because one of the things, with educating on the environment is that there's, what I've seen is that there's so many people that say that they love the environment, they do X, Y, and Z, but rarely do you come across someone that actually implements and does the things. Like when I have a friend at school, she is incredibly passionate about the environment, was teaching for 7 years, and every single morning at 6 a.m. she gets up, she goes around, gets like the bees that are just like cold in the morning, brings them to a leaf and gives them a little honey to wake up so they don't get stepped on every single morning. Wow. I've never met someone else like that. And I just wonder, like, how do you teach in order to create more people that are not necessarily doing something like that, but actually take the steps? And how do you approach teaching them? Because I know that there's some level of like, it's got to be convenient for them. Like, oh, you might want to take a bike, you can save money, or like sort of wrap it in a way that makes it more appealing to people to do, other than just of the love of the environment. Because I know that that's unfortunately not enough for some people.
Yeah, well, one of the things talking about our education program is we have a component to it that asks students not only to come and have the experience, but also to define a problem that they see and then create a conservation project and a solution to that problem. And so we've had the opportunity for students to create, they've noticed that there's trash coming along the waterways, and they have designed robots that come through, almost like drones that can pick up trash, and all these super creative ideas. And it's a great way for students. It's not just the experience. It's okay. What do we know that there's problems? Let's identify the problems, and then let's figure out what kind of solutions. And I love that fifth graders are thinking of that. As it comes into adults, what we do as an organization is we connect people with nature. We provide experiences so that they'll fall in love with nature. And then by falling in love with nature, then you want to protect it, right? And that's either volunteering your time to protect it, doing the bee pickup like your friend. It is donating to organizations that are doing the heavy lifting of work. It is going to the voting booth and voting in ways that will protect what you love as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that immediately stood out to me is that you build ownership in these fifth graders. They create things themselves to help the environment, and that act of building it themselves definitely makes them more invested. I do a lot of psychological studies and books because I love education. I love trying to figure out how you can best I'll create information that is easily taken by someone. So I love your approach. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, for people who have, I think Brandon brings up a good point. Maybe, Kristen, you can add to it as well. A lot of people talk about, of course, you're not going to hear one person saying, I hate the environment and all that stuff, right? Or I love literacy. Well, of course you do. Now, are you doing anything for it? No, I just love it. Okay, well, that's great. There's things you can do. On your website, are there opportunities? Here's how you can volunteer. I mean, money doesn't grow on tree. I'm sure there's some money that helps some programs going on. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have lots of different volunteer opportunities, whether that means you want to come out to one of our habitat restoration events where you're literally getting your hands dirty and helping us
and see the chicken bird?
Restore habitat.
See the chicken bird?
Yes, you can potentially see the chicken bird, the Ridgeway's rail. So there's opportunities to get your hands dirty and help out in that regards. There's opportunities to be an ambassador for us. So those are folks that help us remind folks to stay on the trails and why it's important to do certain things. We've got someone draw.
Is this what the chicken bird looks like? Is this what you envisioned?
The legs are right.
The legs are right.
Nice
Okay.
long legs.
That is
all right.
beautiful.
Sure.
It's a beautiful chicken bird.
For sure.
You're a heck of an artist.
Thank you very much.
I think that needs to be in the Nature Collective website.
Well, I'll give it to them and we'll see what they do with it.
Exactly. That is so funny. But anyway, getting back to the point, there's plenty of opportunities, correct?
Plenty of opportunities. And of course, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. And
Right.
so we exist and do what we do because of folks that are willing to donate funds to us.
Yeah, and I think, like your work with the fifth graders in Escondido School District and so forth on this, I always like to bring this back to Kristen because of her wonderful work on being the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. Maybe there's a connectivity between writing and, what they do.
There's always a connection. I just did a nature journaling workshop a couple weeks ago for the Armed Services Arts Partnership. But I mean, writing in nature is, I do a lot with prompts and things like that. What is better than being in nature? And just always emphasizing to people that that's just the best way to slow down and pay attention. And that is at the heart of good writing. So they go hand in hand.
But could your constituents in one of these habitat...
Are you making more work for me again?
My job is to make sure she does nothing but work.
Yeah,
and all this.
Just all the partnerships. So
they all
play for
together.
Kristen.
No, seriously, think about it. At a habitation, restoration event. Hey, listen, guys, come out, bring your sketch pads, and do something. Correct?
We are always looking for ways to partner. So,
and we do offer part of our education program does have a nature journaling component.
Beautiful.
To it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's wonderful. You see the students out there reflecting on what they're seeing and observing. Yeah,
that is so cool.
Yeah.
I wondered if you could go back to the restoration events. How often do those occur?
Sure. We have restoration events that typically occur once a month.
Okay.
And right now we're in a tiny bit of a break because we during the summer it gets a little warm, so we don't have them in June and
the May gray. Everybody gets depressed and doesn't want to go out. No, just kidding. But
we have it's very robust during certain times of the year, especially during the planting times of the year. So right now, as we know, we're not getting a lot of rain, so we don't plant plants right now. We're just removing invasive species. But yeah, at least once a month we have restoration events. Like I said, there's an ambassador program that is out every weekend helping us communicate why nature is important and how to respect it. And that's another volunteer opportunity as well.
Excellent.
No, that's great. So how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website, naturecollective.org, lots of great information about the programs that we touched upon lightly here. And there's a myriad of other programs and that we offer as well. So visit our website and hope to see you soon.
Well, let's listen, we say this quite a bit. Let's have you back on and maybe bring in some of the people that have, maybe some of the students from Escondido or some of the people that have, certainly, worked with you on some of these restoration efforts. Kristen and I will do backflips if you can bring the chicken bird in.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
No, the reason why I said, and no joke, we bring animals in. So we work with the Living Coast Discovery Center brings in the owl because I love the owl.
Yeah.
And so we've had some folks bring in turtles. We've had some dragon
I'll
lizards.
do with some tall grasses, you know, whatever she's got.
Yes,
the Ridgway's rail is a endangered species.
No,
so we definitely can't.
I know
go out and see him, but yeah, maybe there's an opportunity to bring something in and
think about that. Think about that. We love to have animals. And Jennifer Bright, what an absolute pleasure having you on. Wishing you nothing but great success moving forward.
Thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Jennifer's the Chief Philanthropy Director and COO for Nature Collective. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things in San Diego County. Thank you, as always, Kristen Fogel. I co-host. She's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. Hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.